I was denied access to a U.S. Army manufacturing facility.
Alright guys, real quick, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe, hit that like button, comment in the comment section. Always enjoy the feedback. And also, if you're on Facebook, check us out on Facebook, Transportation Life, Wheels, Wings, Rudders. On the Facebook group, you're going to get a lot of your questions answered a lot quicker. So join us on there. A lot of experienced drivers, people willing to help out, man. So hope to see you on there, guys.
I want to bring you guys up to speed on year to date, what's going on. So in January, I took one load at the very beginning of January, but that was specifically to go down to South Carolina in order to visit some family on the wife's side. So I took a load down to Aiken, South Carolina that delivered on the 2nd of January. And then we were down in South Carolina for about 10 days after that. So then came back home, got back on the road. I want to say it was about the 12th, 13th, something like that, just about mid-January. And when I first came out, a broker I deal with, he had a couple of good paying loads that I was interested in. I was hoping to make it work to where I got a load in the direction of the next load pickup and everything, or somebody else is going to land in that area. So just mind you, this is part of the issues when it comes to pre-booking loads or accepting a load that you think you might cover. This is where you run into issues with that. So I got a load that took me over to Pennsylvania. My first load out, once I hit the road again. And this other load, this good paying load, was picking up in Arkansas. Mind you, that's around 1,100 miles away. I decided that I was, hoping to pre-book something out of Pennsylvania going in that direction. Couldn't do it. So I deadheaded all the way over to Arkansas to pick this load up, which was like 1,058 miles. Now, mind you, just so you understand how I'm calculating this, a lot of wear and tear on the van, obviously. You got the cost of going over there, which is going to be roughly $240, $250 in fuel. And the load was, when it was all said and done, deadhead to the load, deliver the load, I would have still profited, over $1,000 on the load, and it put me in a decent area. So, and it was covering for a broker. As I said, I try to cover as much as possible, and this was again just kind of a, not so much a learning experience, but a kind of a what do I want to say, attention getter, or refocusing, whatever you want to call it. But basically, I went after that again, trying to do too much too quickly, and so it bit me in the ass to where, again, one, I'm deadheading all that way, and mind you, when I deadheaded that way, that was during that snowstorm that hit all of Tennessee and all the ice and shit that was Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana. All that shit was all messed up. I was driving right through that. So I get to Arkansas, and it gets better. It gets better. Wait, there's more. So I get to Arkansas. So I was worn out from the deadhead and everything, due to the storm and just the drive itself, and had to do it pretty quickly. Didn't have a lot of time in there to rest and everything. So I get there, and I go to pick up the following day. Oh, and mind you, again, wait, there's more. My diesel heater wasn't working. And I'll get to all that at another time, but the diesel heater wasn't working. So the temperatures were sub-zero, had all that snow. So I get there, I go to my pickup, I arrive at my pickup, nobody's there. Like, there's nobody there. There's another truck waiting out there to get in as well, and making calls to the broker's making calls to the customer, and eventually they come back and they're like, hey, this is probably not going to pick up until tomorrow or possibly the next day due to the ice. In Arkansas, like, they have almost zero capability of dealing with the roads. So all the roads were so snow covered and ice covered that, and again, they're not accustomed to dealing with that kind of weather there. So it was basically shut down. And so they wasn't sure if they was going to come to work the following day or the next day after. So I was like, okay, I'm good. Give me a layover, whatever. I'll stick here with it because I'm here, no big deal. So after that, I went ahead and booked a room because I'm going to be sitting overnight. Diesel heater ain't working. It's supposed to be minus 9 degrees. Like, there's no way I'm going to idle the van all that time, and I'm not going to, I can't sit in the van all that time with that kind of weather. So got a room. On my way to the room, get the call from the broker. Hey man, this canceled. This ain't gonna pick up until possibly Monday. And it's like, oh shit. I already got the room. The day's kind of shot, as far as, trying to book another load or anything. I'm in a really rough area as far as freight in the area to pick up. So I stay the night in the room. Following morning, I actually booked a load first thing the following morning, picking up out of Louisiana, going over to Mississippi. So that worked out. It was a pretty decent paying load, gets me back to kind of in the direction I want to get. What's crazy is I come out that morning, and I go out, start my van, let it warm up. We go ahead, grab breakfast real quick. Grab breakfast, come out to the van. My doors are locked. My freaking doors are locked, dude. And mind you, this is a pretty tight pickup time once I mapped it out and everything, and I realized that, so I hurry up and cut breakfast short and come out. And my doors are locked, and I have no idea why they would lock. They don't normally lock, especially when the key's in the ignition like that. Usually the driver's door will stay unlocked, and I had to unlock it, obviously, to get into it. So my only guess is that the freezing cold just triggered something. I have no idea, because it ain't like I'm going to hit a button shutting the door or anything like that. So I don't know what happened, because if the door's open, you key it in, even if I hit a button on the key fob, the driver's door ain't going to lock. And mind you, my automatic door locks to when I first take off, you start rolling and your locks will engage and lock. That hasn't worked for quite a while. So anyhow, so I'm freaking out, because on this van, I don't have forward pass or anything. I don't have anything linked up, so I can't go into my app and unlock it. So I'm just like freaking out. I'm like, shit, man, now I'm going to lose this load. The desk clerk wasn't sure, but he gave me the number to the local police department. I call the police department. They put me in touch with the local sheriff department. So I call the sheriff's department, and luckily they do lockouts, but they was like, oh, due to the road conditions and everything, it might be a while before he gets to you. I'm like, damn. So I'm just stressing at this point, because I don't want to lose this load, and I'm, trying to make it all work. So I sit down. Luckily, sheriff gets there in a pretty quick time frame. He got there in like less than 10 minutes. I think it was like 5 minutes or so. He gets there. Took him about 10 minutes or so to get into my van, unlock it, and then I was off and rolling. So all back roads to my pickup. It's nothing but completely just packed snow and ice. So it's not the fastest travel time to get there. So everything else goes good with getting this load taken care of. So once I get to Mississippi, I go ahead and start heading north, because I was about 2 hours or so from Memphis. Heading up that way, contact a broker. He tells me they got a load coming out the next day, which is one of the loads that I was looking for. That's why I was heading up that way. So we booked a load. So cool, sit overnight, go to pick up the next morning. Fucking Tanu. Damn thing canceled. So that's 2 loads that's canceled in the past couple of days, so you get a Tano on that. So then I get a load out of Tennessee going to Kansas, and then I get a load out of Kansas going to Nebraska, and then in Nebraska, and this is going into the weekend, then I get a call from a broker, said, hey, I got a load out of South Dakota, picking up Monday, going to Kentucky. I'm like, sweet. It takes me back direction I need to go. Then I can get maybe 1 or 2 more loads and then hit the house, because I had to be back in for some things. So I delivered the load in Nebraska. I did head up to South Dakota. I get a room for the weekend, because again, my heater ain't working. So I sit in the room all weekend thinking I got this good paying long load on Monday morning. Get up Monday, and the place that I'm picking up is literally like right around the corner, like less than 2 miles away. I go there, get there a little early. They're like, man, we're not aware of what you're here to pick up. Damn. So I'm just thinking, well, maybe it's early. I'm early. I'm a few hours early. Maybe it's just the lines of communication hasn't completed itself yet. So as I'm in there trying to figure this out, and they're trying to figure it out, I get a call from the broker. This load canceled. I'm like, son of a bitch. The freight forwarder that the broker got it from entered it back. Well, somebody entered it backwards. Let me not put the blame where it got put in backwards. It got put in South Dakota to Kentucky when it was supposed to be Kentucky to South Dakota. So another Tanu, man. I'm in a horrible area to get freight. Horrible area to get freight. I don't even stick around trying to get a load that day out of South Dakota. So I immediately start heading east. I'm immediately heading, I'm going to pass through Minneapolis, and then I'm heading for basically Wisconsin at the bare minimum. That's what I'm heading for. I wasn't even going to stop in Minneapolis because, again, I had to start being home, and that was my best chance. So as I was heading there, the broker who the load canceled through, he gives me a call, and he tells me he's got one picking up out of Wisconsin the following morning, going over to Michigan. He paid extremely well. I'm thankful to him for that, it helped for the week. So got the load to Michigan, and then once I dropped that to Michigan, I was only like an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours out from the house. So I went straight home. So that's how that went. And the moral of all that, and the point I want to get across to all that is, those are the things that can happen in general. And then if you're in a situation to where you're trying to force things to happen, like, that just creates a worse situation for what you already feel you're in. So, just try to take the time to slow it down and think things through and all of those things. Just, again, one decision can put you just snowball into other bad situations afterwards, as far as trying to be positioned for freight, getting freight in general. And now, mind you, normally, like, the brokers that I got those loads from, they're usually very, very reliable. Those loads are usually on point, no wait time, no issues picking them up and delivering them. They're usually super simple. So to have those happen, it was just an oddity, man. It just, unfortunately, it happened at a time that was, more stressful to me due to all that. So, yeah, it was a rough go of it. So, ended up being home, and then I just came out last Monday, and last week was pretty decent and everything. And as I touched on in the last video, the rates are still the rates. You more have to be more strategic, and have to hope to have or try to build decent relationships with certain brokers, and that's going to help you get through. But yeah, it's still rough out here, man. So today I'm sitting in Indianapolis right now. Yesterday I was very fortunate. I got 2 loads yesterday. So yesterday morning I had to pick up. It was out of Lima, Ohio. It was Lima, Ohio, going up to Michigan, northern Michigan. It was like 230 some odd miles, and I got like $500 for it. It's a Army facility. It's a federal facility for manufacturing, parts and pieces for tanks and whatnot. And mind you, I've been on bases like the entire time I've been doing this. I've been on multiple, bases, ports, nuclear plants, all kinds of things. And I've had my background checked before, which I do have a record. I don't ever hide that. So, any of you that are kind of like, oh, he's hiding something. I have a record. I have felonies. I've done time in prison. All that's known. The last time I had any issues was going on 19 years ago. So I get on this facility, and they run the check. I had to get out. It was one of them places where you got to pop the hood, open the doors. They go through everything, look under the vehicle, rummage through a few things, just to make sure you don't have any, kind of illegal shit in here. So, tell me to pull up. The next guy will give me my ID and, run my background. I pull up, and they're like, hey, you was denied access, which, being denied access, I wasn't denied complete access. I was just denied unescorted access. So they had to have an escort come get me. They took me around. Just had to have an escort standing by me as I was in the facility, getting loaded, all that good stuff. So got loaded with no issues other than that. Got up to Michigan, dropped that load by noon. I was unloaded just a little after noon. And then I was sitting up near kind of Saginaw area, and then I was able to land another one later in the afternoon that brought me down to Indianapolis, and it delivered last night. So now I'm sitting in Indianapolis trying to find me a load for today. And I guess a funny part of that is broker reached out, has a load tomorrow morning coming out of Michigan going to South Dakota. So if I get up there, I will cover it because it's a great paying load, so I will get up there and cover it. That's the plan, and that's what's been going on up to this point. It's been a really spit and sputtering kind of start to the year. I'm not getting discouraged. Of course, there's stress involved and all those things. I'm not gonna sit here and act like, oh man, it's just hunky dory, because it's not. Like, it's stressful, it's work, and you just it's nonstop work, because it's always on your mind. Obviously, if you're running a business and you got people relying on you, and you got a family to take care of and bills to pay, of course there's stress. So that's where we're at with it. So with all that being said, guys, just I know some of you guys are struggling out there. Many of you probably are. If you guys have the right work ethic and common sense and ability to just strategize, you're going to get through it. As I said, I try to be positive with all this stuff, but at the same time, like, don't get me wrong, a lot of you guys ain't going to make it, because a lot of you guys just aren't meant to be doing this, and that's not a knock on you. It's just not the right fit. And the sooner some people recognize that, the better. And again, I want to make another mention. Guys, stay away from those apps. Those apps are absolute garbage, in my opinion. Again, anybody has something positive they want to say about those apps, please put that in the comment section and tell me your experiences with it. Because as I said, as I spoke in the last video, my understanding of those apps, it's just reaching out to masses, and it's just creating a lot of basically in-house competition that's going to do nothing but drive the rates down. It's not like that competition is causing the dispatcher of those apps to be like, oh, okay, well, we'll just go up on it. We'll go up. No, they're going down. Those rates are going down. And again, a lot of your competition is from within the same app. It's not all these other drivers everywhere, because a lot of these drivers are taking the easy way. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people getting on these apps, man, especially these new people that are getting into the industry, because it's easy. That's what they know. They don't understand how to get in touch with carriers and be dedicated and all of these things. A lot of misinformation out there. Too many guys out there glorifying the easy route to do things, and it's doing nothing but hurting things. So, again, try to stay away from those apps, man. Get on with the carrier, and learn the business, and then see if you want to go out and become a carrier yourself. That's my advice right now, quick and easy part of it. So, with all that rambling said, I'm out, guys.